and he says, clearly, that is after he mentioned that they will not appear here as, like he said, as COF2 before this committee. The committee is merely a posturing and a space for public humiliation. The committee, not Honorable Bakavulindi. Public humiliation and injury of my integrity and that of my colleague and Deputy Secretary General, Ms. Penina Tukamwesiga, in order to sanitize an already concluded decision against us. This is just a continuation of the suffering and humiliation I have endured in the fund for over a year due to my stand for the truth and the best interest of the least of these whom I represent. Associated, some paragraph at the end, associated with such uncivility and therefore won't continue appearing before a clearly conflicted, prejudiced, and biased committee with a predetermined agenda and whose intentions are now discernible. There, does his issue with the Honorable Bakavulindi concern the whole committee? If Honorable Bakavulindi is biased from their historical relationship, is he insulting our integrity as a committee that the Honorable Bakavulindi is going to bias all of us, including you, Honorable Chair of this committee?
Okay. Honorable Dr. LYOMOKI, are you going to withdraw that statement?
Mr. Chairman, I stand by the statement. The way I was treated in the other, when I came here, there were baseless submissions were made by people. When I would say something, I was ruled out of order, and I was clearly given no time to defend myself at that time. And I wrote basing on that. So I still stand by what I made as an appeal. It is on record. The Speaker has not yet responded. You can even see the way my colleague was responding to what I've raised because of the agenda that he has. So I stand by the words, but also I was requesting to be given opportunity. If that petition that I have conflicts and you think I cannot continue, then so be it. But I stand by those words, because even the letter, that police thing, even himself is summoned, it is there, everything is there. So for him to say that was between or not when actually he himself was also, and even made a statement, very, very deep thing. There are things that I cannot speak here to embarrass him, but which are very, very clear, which I don't want to go into those details.
Okay.
Yeah. Even in that same letter, he made a clear statement. A question that came from us, where they wanted to be funded for IRO last June, but it was let down, and everyone in the labor movement, telling everyone that I'm the one, Dr. LYOMOKI, there are people that I'm the one who refused, that I'm the one who caused the board. So if he thinks I can cost the board, that means he can also cost these fellow committee members to turn against, because we made a decision as a committee
LYOMOKI,
and insist that we refuse
Dr.
as a board, and I was
LYOMOKI.
part. Yes, yes, sir.
We want to hear whatever you want to tell us. We want to give you a chance to correct, if necessary, whatever people have said, whatever you have heard. But this cannot be done, let's assume this is a tribunal. It cannot be done where you think you are appearing already before a committee that has already predetermined and is just posturing, a committee that is biased. So I'm kindly requesting, because I also want you to say what you came here to say. I want you to maybe correct some things that may not have been said in the right way. But I cannot allow you to do this if you still think you are appearing before a predetermined committee, posturing, and that is biased. So I'm going to kindly request you for another last time. Can you withdraw those statements?
In terms of the petition, the petition stands. In terms of the reference to the whole committee, that one, I can withdraw the reference to the whole committee. But in terms of the whole, I mean, as long as my brother is there, there's really
you see, I don't know.
There's already a conflict of interest, but we can. I am waiting for the response from the speaker. But in terms of that reference, that conclusion about the whole committee, it will depend on, for instance, how to die or operate. If, for instance, I can withdraw that statement, but depending on how, if it is the same thing like last time, then it will be the same conclusion. But
okay,
since we are just starting this meeting, and since I have requested for, I will be able to respond, and also, if possible, maybe given time, I can withdraw that statement in reference to the whole committee. Because
you have not withdrawn, because you are conditioning your withdrawal on something that has not yet happened. If at all, I will see this time. So I'm going to ask you, Dr. LYOMOKI, to kindly leave this committee.
Okay, thank you very much for that ruling. I take it. And given the fact that there are a lot of allegations that have been raised against me, I request the committee to give me time, space in the absence of my brother. But if it's not possible, then so be it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Wish you a good evening.
Okay.
Can we proceed with the presentations?
Thanks very much, Honorable Chair. Mine is a very brief one. One, first of all, to thank you, but also to confirm that management and our team has presented all the papers and all the reference documents that were required by this committee. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Honorable Chairman, is to thank you for the sanctity of Parliament, that while you were there as cops, you are also coaches. We are coming from an investment organization which also is so dependent on the market conditions and the business environment. So skepticism and the kind of perception out in the market is very key. So a lot of stuff that has been said here, which I know by the end of this session would have been clarified. Mr. Chairman, we came to the board. We have very interesting people on this board. We had just about 10-point program that we came with on this board. Number one was to look at the revenue engine. That's what number one, revenue engine of the fund. Number two was to look carefully at the multi-stakeholder engagement plan because the law had opened up. Number three was to look carefully at the decision-making capacity of the organization and follow-up. Number four was to look at the staff engagement. NSSF and we, the new board, focused on putting people at the center of corporate purpose. Number five was the transformation model, to ensure that there is a new model that will drive proper execution and integration of the strategy of the fund into the national economy. Number six is innovation. We set out to make sure that NSSF becomes a hub for innovation, and there are a couple of initiatives that were started. Now, number seven, Honorable Chair, was the outstanding resolutions that the previous board had made. There were a number of outstanding obligations. There were also a number of pending issues in terms of reviewing the manual, reviewing the guidelines of the fund, and even right now they are going on. And I think there is an issue of compensation that was still among those items. The next point that we've looked at, Mr. Honorable Chairman, is the 4 plans, because we came in at the end of COVID. We introduced something that wasn't in the fund, and that was the fund briefing us in 4 areas. Emergency response.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
I believe you are telling us about the achievements of the board. Don't you think this would have been better on paper for
yes,
all the honorable members to appreciate?
Yes, we will. We will put it on. We will put it on paper. But I wanted to just conclude.
Okay,
with those
kindly
10 points.
conclude.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to spend time on that. I just wanted to summarize very quickly. So the last point was succession planning and preparing for transition, as you have already heard for the MD and also DMD. What we are going to put also in writing is the fact that we went beyond just giving these people appointment letters, but also having what we call a performance-based compact for each one of them. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, was board development. I want to conclude by saying this board is united. There is no evidence at all that I have as a chair that the board is disunited. There is none, except for one individual. And I put that in writing in 2 letters to the minister. The second point that I want to mention is the board is qualified to deliver its fiduciary responsibility. And finally, what I wanted to mention is that we are ready and willing to answer to the fullest extent we can any questions asked. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Does anyone wish to make a personal statement before we start serious business? Mr. Chailab, I can see you are itching to switch on the microphone.
But I think since you mentioned my name, I'm going to make a short statement that, first of all, I do welcome these investigations because it will go to the truth about the allegations that were put before the individuals in the board and perhaps the board itself as well. Number 2, to the best of our knowledge and ability, we have records which speak to the facts that have been submitted to this August committee, and it's up to us to validate those pieces of information. Number 3 is that I know the principle of collective responsibility is cardinal in all governance institutions, governance in all institutions. However, when a very important matter comes that requires unveiling the collective responsibility, the board has got structures through which that unveiling can be done. And according to the board, the relevant committees through which a particular matter relates that requires unveiling is the first point of call before you arrive at the individuals. So, as you mentioned, I needed to put that statement on board that in case we all go by the principle of collective responsibility. However, in the event that a matter of importance requires that that collective responsibility be unveiled, then the unveiling will take the trend of committee, which process that item, and then the individual board members' discussions, which are borne by the minutes that have been submitted.
Okay.
I beg to submit, Chair.
Yes, Madam Penina.
I also would like to make a personal statement arising from this probe. We have a petitioner, Matua, who came to this committee and made serious allegations about my reputation, referring me as a board member who was brought to the board by mistake and through favor, which wasn't right, and he could not substantiate that. I would like the committee, if it can allow Matua to come back and withdraw that statement, because I'm a practicing lawyer, I'm a married woman, a church leader, an advocate of the High Court. I've been practicing for 10 years. I've been in the labor movement for over 15 years. I have the experience, the qualifications, and the skills to be on a board and also serve on other important boards. So a petitioner to come here and make allegations which the media picks and they capitalize on that without any evidence It hurts my reputation, and I would request if the committee can summon Matua to come and withdraw that statement publicly. Thank you.
I remember during that committee sitting, we asked him to substantiate how he got knowledge of you being a girlfriend of some other person, and I remember he withdrew in that meeting. We can just provide you with the record of the committee, but as a committee we did our part and we asked him to substantiate, which he failed to do, and he withdrew that statement. Do you expect something more from us?
Okay, thank you, Chair. But the way media got it, it's as if it's a true allegation, and you have seen it everywhere in social media. My reputation has been hurt because of that. But if you withdrew, then I'm okay to go. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any other person before we start?
Chair, mine is just something to talk about the image of the fund. The image of the fund. I want us, all of us here, as we do all this, it is true that it is your work and you've been selected. It is a very good team, actually, very knowledgeable. For me, I have no bias. But I would like all of you to think about, as we go through all these, actually my heart is bleeding about what NSSF is going through. How I wish you could also look on the other side on how do we bring back the customers, because we had 95, like online it was 95 people were talking about the fund like 3 months ago. As I talk, it is negative 68 and so on. So, and when we met His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, he told us, please go and keep quiet. And unfortunately, for the 2 months, it has been very bad. So I will request the committee, as you also look at this, also help us to see how we bring back the name of NSSF. Because what is being talked here, personally, I'm just 8 months on the board, and I don't think I'm part of all these allegations. Thank you very much.
Okay. I believe there's no one else. Can we start? In this, the budget for this financial year we are in, I think, approved a corporate social responsibility fund amounting to 1.8 billion. We had witnesses here yesterday who confirmed that 250 million of this corporate social responsibility, which changed actually, because it is a new fund apparently you created, you changed and called it corporate social investment. So the chairman of the board, you have been allocated 250 million to donate as and when you wish, and this money cannot be accounted for. The whole board, you have been allocated 500 million to donate how and when you think you want without accountability. You have also given the Honorable Minister of Gender, Honorable Betty Amongi, 250 million to donate how and when she feels like. And others, the unions, were given 400 each to donate how and when they feel they should. So my question is, who arrived at this decision? This time I will ask Mr. Patrick Ochailap to be the one to respond to this matter. This is in finance. Who arrived at this decision to spend the savers' money and create a fund that cannot be accounted for? The second question, Madam Penina, I'm sure you have heard, you have watched several appearances here where you are the corporation secretary of COFTU. Dr. LYOMOKI unfortunately has gone. He would have given us information. He's the Secretary General of COFTU. Now, you are the same people who are on the board. We have looked at your constitution. Any matter that is silent, the decision must be taken by your SEC. We have interacted with some of your SEC members. There is no meeting that was held by your SEC to appoint both of you onto this board. Kindly clarify how you arrived to be a member of this board. The third, again to Madam Penina, 400 million has been deposited on the account of COFTU so far from the fund. You have never accounted for this money because you sit on the board of NSSF, but you are again the corporation secretary of that union. The Treasurer General of your union said you and Dr. LYOMOKI, whenever he picks money from the bank, as he gets out, you take this money from him. I'm just telling you what we have heard so that you clarify. You take this money from him at the exit of the bank, and that is the end. He has never seen accountability, but most important of all, even the management of NSSF has never seen a single accountability for the money you are receiving. Then lastly, from my side, under what legal framework did you write off a 20 billion loan to Uganda Clays? Honorable members, my two questions, apart from, we'll go to...
Thank you, Chair. The issue of the corporate social responsibility, 1.8 billion, and the reported allocation, I got to know about the reported allocation yesterday from the media. I sit in two committees, the Investment and Project Monitoring Committee, which I chair, and the Finance Committee, which Dr. Mugisha chairs. The corporate social responsibility budget and any other budget comes through the Finance Committee chaired by Dr. Mugisha, but it combines certainly submissions from the rest of the other committees. And this corporate social responsibility has been in the fund even before we came on board to deal with aspects which I practice in most corporate institutions, to provide those items and programs or support to institutions that are decided on as those that can promote the corporate image, in this case of NSSF, in a positive way. The block sum of 1.8 billion was indeed part of the overall corporate social responsibility budget, but was conditioned in the meetings that took place at the Finance Committee level that no expenditure should come out of that item until and after management has provided the work plans with institutions which are selected to conduct corporate social responsibilities, and also provide a criteria for the breakdown of that amount of 1.8 billion for corporate social responsibility. A decision was not taken, to the best of my knowledge and ability, in line with the record of the minutes that has been summarized for the board, to allocate the money the way it was reported in the press. In any case...
Clarification?
Yes?
We are noting down something.
Yes.
We'd like to know, when did you take that decision as a board of no money should be got from the social, a corporate social responsibility of the out of 1.8 billion until the management comes with a work plan. When was that decision taken?
It was arising from a summary of the board decisions. On page 1, I think the Corporation Secretary and the boards, the fund submitted that. It was extract of the minutes of the 3rd ordinary meeting of the board for the financial year 2021/22, held on Friday, 13th May 2022 at Mbarara Hotel in Mbarara at 10 a.m. And for record, I did not attend this meeting because I was held up in other consultations in the ministry. So I need to put that one also on record. I did not attend this meeting. But as I said earlier, collective responsibility enjoins me to that. But when you're unpacking, when a matter comes like this...
Mr. Chaila, I can see you all have the same document on your tables.
Yeah, you don't have it?
No, the responses you are giving.
Yeah.
I can see you all have already, but that is not a big issue. You held a meeting on 3rd, and you said this money should not be spent.
No.
Are you aware that the unions and some other beneficiaries have already received this money?
I'm not aware.
So should we say that the management is participating maybe in an illegality by giving people this money you approved in the budget? Because you are saying this money should not be spent until a work plan is produced.
Yeah.
But some of this money, the same board members are allegedly going to benefit. Maybe let me ask the chair. Chair, have you submitted the work plan for your 250 million?
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
No,
hear you.
Honorable Chair, nothing like that. All these matters to do with the corporate social responsibility and so, we told management very clearly, get the work plans, get all the activities ready, and also take us through the accountability instruments, and then we need the regulations.
But since the 250, you are the beneficiary. It's a simple question. Have you submitted your work plan or not?
Nothing, I haven't.
So you are still working on it?
Sorry?
Are you still working on it?
I can't even start, because management is supposed to give us a comprehensive framework, which they haven't done.
Did you approve this budget?
No, we didn't really, for one reason. I think the way the breakdown, as I saw it in the media yesterday, was an attempt by management to put in a vote, which is in estimated form.
Okay, just stop there.
Yeah.
Yesterday you were very honest. You know, we may be smiling here, but I say this is the last time you appear before this committee. So everything you try to hide, everything you try to do will have an impact on you. Corporation Secretary, you were with us yesterday. You have sat on these board meetings. I have listened to most of your recordings of your meetings. I have read most of your minutes. So, Corporation Secretary, want these board members putting you under political pressure to have this corporate social investment budget passed. Did you advise them against it or not?
Chair, there were discussions in the board, like you've seen in the minutes, for the corporate social investment budget. There were probably misunderstandings between the board and management on the intentions, the intended usage of the budget. That's a fact as well. There was guidance given that there should be development of a framework through which the budget must be utilized.
Councillor Agnes.
Yes, Chair.
I know before you came, probably you caucused, and maybe your job is also at risk. But even what you say will put it at risk either way. Luckily enough, you were here yesterday. I'm going to ask you one more time, just like I asked you before, and that will be the end. I will not ask you about this matter anymore. Were you under pressure to pass this corporate social investment that had incorporated monies, some to the board, some to the chairman, and some to the minister? From the fund, were there these discussions?
Okay, Chair, that budget that you saw yesterday was never presented to the board, actually. You recall yesterday I said I was also hearing that allocation for the first time. I was on record. If you look at our minutes, that allocation...
But you passed the 1.8 billion budget.
Yes, Chair, that was passed. And the board, I believe, accepts that they passed it. They did. But that breakdown, specifically you're mentioning, no, that was not presented.
So Mr. Byarugaba forged the breakdown of the 1.8 billion together with his public relations stock marketing office.
Chair, I believe Mr. Byarugaba is best placed to respond to that breakdown, because from the board records, the agenda, the information that we've availed to the committee, the minutes, the budget that was presented to the committee, first finance committee, to the board, submitted to the minister, there is no specific breakdown of the amounts, the 250, the 150.
That's before. Yeah, and this is the first time I'm seeing people denying a budget they passed. Honorable Masawa, then we can allow the...
Thank you very much. On that issue, what I need clarity on is the work plan vis-a-vis the budget. Which one comes first? I thought the work plan comes first. So how did you arrive at the 1.8 billion that you passed in your budget? How did you come up with this figure? Or you just randomly came up with any figure? Because I thought the work plan comes before you do the budget. You clarify on that.
Honorable Gaffer, then we allow them to respond.
Thank you, Chair. Masava has raised one of the clarifications I wanted. What informed the figure of 1.8 billion if there were no departmental work plans and the estimates for corporate social responsibility or investment, whatever you call it? Who dreamt of this figure of 1.8 billion? But secondly, Chair, the denial by everybody here, including the Corporation Secretary, that this breakdown, they are hearing it for the first time in yesterday's meeting. I need clarification. The letter written by Honorable Dr. Sam LYOMOKI on behalf of COFTU requesting for the balance of 300 million after receiving 100 million confirms the breakdown of 400 million for COFTU and 400 million for NOTU. That letter was written last year. So if everybody here is hearing of this breakdown for the first time, where did Dr. LYOMOKI get this breakdown of 400 million, the same figure that was given to us yesterday by Mr. Byarugaba? Thank you, Chair.
Kindly respond, whoever responds.
Thank you very much.
Just before you come in, there's a gentleman, I think we have not heard his voice. Yes, you respond.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm Hassan Rabai, Mudiba board member representing NOTU. The issue of corporate social responsibility. For me, when we were having a meeting in Ibulala in Mbarara, there is a hotel there called Ibulala. I was with Dr. Silva Mujisha here, discussing the other things. Then Byarugaba himself came with a phone and opened and scored it that in the budget we shall have this one for you. Now I said, what is this? And on that day, he wanted to renew his contract. Now I told him that I don't need the money from you. Silver was, we were three. I was with Silver, then Byarugaba came. And I said, if it is a question of renewing your contract, me, I'm going to vote for you. And when we convened in the board, Sister Penina guided that how do we renew these people's contract before even they express interest that they want to continue with the work. 2, they have not been appraised their performance. And 3, SACA has not been involved in this process. So from there we ruled that then we cannot proceed with this until SACA pronounces itself on the issue of renewal of the contract. Performance appraisal should be done, and also they should express interest. Then from there we went to Mbale. We had a board meeting in Mbale. Again, the same issue, Byarugaba raised it. And Dr. Silva here raised it and said, you people, you cannot mix issues of, is it corporate, social cooperative response? Because for me, I'm a civil servant, I'm not so conversant with the corporate world affairs. That you are risking in case you entertain the issue of corporate social responsibility. And we resolve that the board should not be involved in the issue of social cooperative responsibility. In Mbale, what we agreed on is the money to go to the centers to facilitate financial literacy. That is 400 million. That's 100 million per quarter. Now, the first one was dispersed hurriedly, but we said we should develop a legal framework, as the chairman is saying. Then we do what? You administer the balance, and we assign management to work on that.
Okay, sir. Corporation Secretary, you wait. I am reading Dr. LYOMOKI's letter. At the beginning of this financial year, 400 million shillings was budgeted and approved for the pillar of financial literacy, of which 100 million has already been released in the first quarter of the financial year. The COF2 would like to propose the following additional budget for the 3 pillars: leveraging technology for purpose of upgrading their system, 200 million, mobilizing and engaging stakeholder costed at 200 million annually, corporate social responsibility or investment at 200 million annually. Okay, if you people didn't want this money, explain to us at what point did it change from corporate social responsibility to corporate social investment? And
yeah, what I'm saying that after taking that decision, management, we left the matter to be done between management and the centers. And that 100 million was remitted on a note account and not administered activities therefrom. And subsequent programs were left pending formulation of those.
But NOTO has been receiving this money even before recently. You people are trying to zero it down to the recent events.
Actually,
you have received a total of around 432 million. And this has been over the years.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that's why we said that let this matter be regulated this time. Because before...
So we forget about the past?
No, that is not what I'm saying. Before that, the issue of centers were being coordinated by the MD, Byarugaba himself. And he was dealing with individuals because there is no center which
How
said they
come
wanted this and
in the past you didn't refuse this money? How come now you are refusing it?
No, I'm a new board member, Mr. Chair.
But you have been in the union.
Yeah, but union affiliated to NOTO. These are 2 different entities. I don't manage NOTO affairs, but I'm an affiliate of NOTO.
But you are, when they are sending the money, you are involved?
No, I wasn't involved.
Because you passed the budget?
Yes, if that is what involvement means, I was involved.
Mr. Mujisha, you wait. Penina.
Okay, thank you, Chair. In regard to COF2, I know about the 100 million, which was for financial literacy activities at the end of last year. And actually, those activities were carried out, and the NSSF officials, that is the head of marketing and her team, attended those activities. I know it has been a contention about the expenditure of that money, and I want to set the record straight. I don't touch money when it comes to COF2. I'm not a signatory, neither do I involve myself in payments. I'm a coordinator. Temporarily, I'm a coordinator since last year because the substantive officer left and I stood in. So for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been a coordinator. And what I mean by that, I make sure activities are carried out. The objective of the program has to be achieved. So I can testify and actually give evidence to show that financial literacy activities were carried out. I had labored to even get some CDs. I put a soft copy, the videos and photos of the financial activities COF2 had, just to prove to you that these activities were actually carried out. And in the past, NSSF used to support COF2 in terms of conferences yearly. We have annual delegates conferences, we have congresses, we have union affiliates, and the MD would come and officiate these conferences. He would give a donation of maybe 10 million, whatever amount, but he would still be invited. So I'm sure if the former MD comes here, he would tell you all the donations he made to COF2 and its affiliates. COF2 is a center, but there are affiliate unions that affiliate to the center. So either to the affiliate unions or to the center would write and give and show justification why that money is needed. And he would donate some money and he would come and
Madam
officiate.
Penina.
Yes.
You're a lawyer. And you're the corporation secretary of COF2.
Chair, COF2 has 5 flagship programs, and I'm the head of legal aid.
Okay, but you're a lawyer nevertheless.
Yes, I'm a lawyer.
And you're a member of the board of NSSF.
That's true.
Now, under what legal framework would NSSF delegate its responsibilities? Let's leave corporate social responsibility now, financial literacy. By giving, because we know how these corporate bodies work, it will partner with you, it will come, but it will control the resources. In this particular case, the money is going to your accounts, you are spending it the way you want, and don't insult our intelligence. You have never given NSSF accountability for this money because we were with them yesterday. So as a lawyer, under what legal framework are they giving you this money on your account?
Chair, I think in the past it was because of the stakeholder engagement relationship they have with the stakeholders. But of course, with the way things are, there should be accountability. But in the past, the MD, when he gives a donation, he would endeavor to come or send someone, but there was no accountability. That's very true. There was no accountability.
Clarification, Honorable Gaffa.
When I'm seeking from Sister Penina, it will help us also to know what is taking place in Noto. Noto. What do you mean by the word Byarugaba could give a donation? Interpretation, what is a donation? Because now we are trying to establish how the corporate social responsibility is supposed to be handled. Now an individual is giving a donation. How do we make accountability of a donation? It was a slip of a tongue, there is another word. But you are free to maintain the word donation.
Okay. Maybe choose a better word, support. And this is for both NOTU and COF2. What was happening in the past, both centers and even affiliate unions, which were independent from the center, they would write to the managing director of NSSF that they are going to hold a conference, but then they would present a budget. So and they request for some amount to be added, so that they are supported to run that activity. And under the stakeholder engagement policy of NSSF, they would render some small support and they would still attend. But the truth of the fact is there was no accountability at all. That one I want to admit. But it was through the events that...
Clarification.
Madam Penina, let's go back to the 100 million you accepted you received as COF2. You indicated that you actually went ahead and implemented several activities as part of this funding from NSSF. How many activities did you implement using the 100 million?
Thank you for that.
How many activities?
Well, it was, I can't say 1, 2, 3, because what happens, it was about sensitization and awareness of workers across the country. So we picked up 3 groups. Those were market vendors, people who work in the market, the vendors across the country. So we had leaders who went in different places across the country and they sensitized, and at the end of the day, after a week or 2, we have a mass workshop of those workers, and we have a conference, a full-day conference, people coming from different parts of the country, and which is summed up by that conference. Then we pick another group. That's what we do. So we have done
I just want to conclude this. There are about 3 or 4 questions, then it is concluded. The portfolio you mentioned, that means you are in charge of implementation of these activities and accountability of the funds. Yes or no?
No, I was the overseer.
You're the overseer.
Overseer, yeah.
Do you, without being exact, do you know how long it took COF2 to implement these activities? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Now, this money, we have evidence that this money, 100 million, was withdrawn at once. We have the bank statement from COF2. So where was this money kept for 3 months as you were implementing the activities?
Okay, when it comes to money, we have programs officers. Personally, I do not, my main objective is to make sure the objective of the activity is fulfilled, implemented. When it comes to money, we have programs officers on the ground who carry out these activities. So the requisition way up to the Secretary General, who actually pays. So for me, the coordinator, I need reports from these programs officers to make sure these activities have been carried out and with evidence. That's why they take it upon themselves to have videos and photos of every activity they do and present to me. So when it comes to money, for me, it was not part of my...
So you received the activity reports and all this evidence?
Yes, we have the activity reports pending a meeting, because they are draft activity reports from the programs officers, pending the meeting to discuss them. But I have the videos and the photos with me now. Did
you share these activity reports and videos and all that to NSSF?
No, we have not yet done that.
So as a board member of NSSF, you demand accountability from the managers, from the management. So how does management account for that money they gave to COF2 and COF2 has not given back the accountability? How does the MD account for that money?
Okay, I know it's a practice that we need to change, but before, these NSF officials are part and parcel of these activities. When we are carrying out these activities, we communicate with them, they come and attend. They come, actually people have voluntarily joined, served with NSSF because of these activities. So by the fact, we are taking comfort from the fact that they come and appear and even make remarks, and they do registration. People are sign up. That's what, but we have not done the formalization.
Finally, on that matter, Chair, as a board member and you are a lawyer, you supervise, as board, you supervise the management of NSSF. what moral authority, if you have received as COFTU money and you have not accounted for it, what moral authority do you have to demand accountability for other activities from management of NSSF?
Honorable Kakembo.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, further supplementary to Penina. Penina, you represent a constituency on the board. What is your main role as a representative of your constituents on the board? And two, your constituents knows the budget of your COFTU, and they are ready to fund it. That's why you deduct every month some money to help COFTU do its daily work. Under which legal framework then would you look for assistance from NSSF, which money you are supposed to protect in trust of the workers who put their money in the same fund?
Okay.
Another one as I conclude, Penina. Assuming, Penina, you are not a member of the board and you're just a worker who is being deducted every month some money to make the union do its work. If you hear that one of your representatives, I say you're assuming you're not now a member of the board, there's another person in your name and you are on the back bencher, and you hear that one of your representatives who you sent to the board to protect and defend your interest, to protect your money, is instead very busy feasting on your money, enjoying it anyhow without accountability, how would you feel?
Honorable Baka, lastly on this matter, we have several, we need clarification on.
Mine is a simple one. When I started well, for you are an overseer. You don't deal with monies. And Madam Penina, are you aware that your Treasurer General on oath appeared before this committee? And what is the role of the Treasurer General?
Okay, respond. We finish these matters and go to other issues.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I will start with the last one, the Treasurer General who appeared before this committee, and he was on oath. And I just want to make a statement in regard to that. While he was on oath, he actually denied of ever being, of COFTU ever carrying out any financial literacy activities. Yet I have on record, I've brought videos to prove that he was actually part of those activities. So I dispute the statements he made because I have evidence which is contrary to that. Then in regard to what's my role on the board, as a board member representing workers, I have my the workers' interest at heart. So my role is to oversight of the institution and to make decisions that are important to on important issues of a company and have the oversight role. So being an overseer of these projects, it's something that I have done of recent. I haven't been doing that because of the gap that was created. But of course, as I had indicated earlier, it's a practice, the accountability issue, it's a practice that needs to be changed. I know the organization had taken comfort in the fact that these NSSF officials are part and parcel of these activities, but the accountability reports are there. And I can commit that through the secretariat, where I come from, we can actually submit these because we are transparent. We are able to submit all these accountabilities. Oh, how did I get onto the board? In 2021, around, it was after COVID in July, we had a meeting. We had a SEC and executive board meetings where we presented the issue of a gap that is going to arise in August, end of August, when the NSF board expires. And through that, were nominated to go to the board, and Secretary General wrote a letter. but I have got complaints from people. I just want to give a background. COF2 is a political organization by nature. What do I mean? COF2 and NOTU, we send 5 workers, MPs, members of parliament, representing workers. And by virtue of that, there are very many power struggles and factions of unions brought by that dynamics of the politics. So we have a challenge where, I'll give an example. Actually, the probe has interacted with the both personalities. For example, NOTU, there is a chairman general called Brother Musa Okello, and there's Brother Asha Wilson Owere. Both claim to be chairman general of NOTU, and that is not different from COF2. Even in COF2, we have those power struggles. You have factions of division, of unions, leadership, because of their political leaning. So what has happened is there has been confusion, and I've seen it even before the probe, before the committee, where different people come in to give their positions which are contrary to the secretariat position. But the matter of the fact is there were SEC and executive board meetings in July, and I have the minutes, it's on record, that took place. But now we see people saying, no, in August, the meeting were postponed. In August, there were supposed to be elections. We have never held elections. I want to put it on record. As COF2, we have never held elections to send people.
Just some clarification, Penin. You held a meeting in July to select nominees for this board. But the letter from the minister came in August. Is this true?
Chair, I'm not aware about the detail of the letter from the minister because I didn't look at it. But all I know, we had meetings in July 26th and 27th.
The letter from the minister was asking you to nominate 2 people, and the letter came in August. But you nominated them prior in July. Is this true?
I'm not aware about the letter from the minister, but I'm aware about the meetings that we had in July. So it's true we had the meetings on 26th and 27th of July. About the letter, I'm not aware. And the communication was we needed to have nominations for the board of NSSF.
Chair, thank you very much. I just want to address myself to the answers my colleague gave you. Chair, in your preamble, you said that we should not be part and parcel of what we are not part and parcel of. Personally, I'm not part and parcel of the breakdown of the money to the minister, the money to the chairman, the money to the board. I am not part of that, and that issue was not discussed in the board. I have the expenditure heads here. The corporate social investment is under research and innovation expenditure head. And this expenditure head is a total of 6.5 billion. It includes high innovator, due diligence, benchmarking, strategic partnerships, and professional subscriptions. That's the budget line, and that is what we approved. Now, this breakdown of money going to board members to what must be somebody's creation, which we are not part of. And according to our resolution here, management reassured the board that there shall be a policy to be submitted to the board and the guidelines to govern this budget. So if there's any expenditure on this budget line, it has been done outside the guidance of the board. I thought I would make that clarification so that it is clear.
Clarification. Honorable Gaffa, then Honorable Kakembo, then
Dr. Mugisha, your neighbor, the board member here from NOTU, just a few minutes ago, alluded to a warning you gave them regarding the budget for corporate social responsibility. Somewhere where you had a board meeting, And I thought that was good of you. Anybody, any of us would expect that guidance from you to the board members. What was it exactly that you were guiding them against? He mentioned it just a few minutes ago. You guided them and said, please, that direction you are taking is not good. Would you like to share what you remember, what you were guiding them about?
Chair, can I?
Honorable Kakembo. Doctor,
I am interested in knowing your role in as far as budgeting is concerned and the oversight process within the budget in NSSF. Because you seem to be denying what a member, one of your member, wrote. He referred to what you had agreed when he was requesting for money and which money was given to him. You would be asking for an accountability report. I'm sure that money will be reflected, and from there, as the person who does the oversight role on the board, you will be questioning how that money was given to that individual. Who is your member on the board?
When Doctor made a statement that he's only aware of the 6.5, it took me to the budget they approved, which we all have copies here. Strategic Partnership, High Innovation, and MasterCard Foundation, 6.5 billion. But again, the same document, when you go behind, it breaks down that 6.5 billion. MasterCard Foundation, 4.08. Then you have several. You put it under several, then you try to explain, which is the 1.8 billion. Then you have the 400 million, then 219 million, which comes to the 6.5. But when you say you're only aware, it means you only read the first page of your budget, which summarizes everything. And yet you're the very people who passed this budget.
Chair, I am just dissociating myself from the breakdown of the minister, the chairman, the board, because that is a very, very bad practice. It would be, of course, unbelievable that the board can associate itself with this unless it really has a very serious regulated mechanism. Two, Chair.
Mr. You are the chairman of the finance, Dr. Mujish.
Yes, sir.
You know, by stating, okay, basing on the statement you just made, it would look like the marketing department and all these other departments connive, because by the time a budget gets to the MD, and I'm sure they are watching, all these departments have a process of processing their budgets. So what you're trying to say is by the time they bring these budgets to you, they hide the expenditure, the work plans of these budgets, and you do not know what they're actually doing. You just pass, like Honorable Masaba just stated, you just pass a summary, and therefore they are the ones hiding these details, and we are now even going to be forced to look at all the other budgets. So in this particular matter, corporate social responsibility, that lady Barbara, who is in charge of marketing, so she connived to hide details together with the MD, and the corporation secretary was aware yesterday.
Thank you, Chair. As I told you, this expenditure head has items which are itemized here. High innovator, due diligence, benchmarking, strategic partnerships, and professional subscriptions. And as a board, in the minute which the chair, my chairperson of the investment committee read, we had said before you spend, we want to approve, to look at the policy and the guidelines that will regulate the application of this. It would be very surprising if part of this money has been spent already, and that is the action we can take as a board to see how anybody can spend without the guidance of the board. Chair,
I was also asked about a member of the board who asked, I want to make it clear, Honorable Chair, and with all due respect, we are not responsible for the behavior of board members in their individual capacities. I remember seeing a request of 1 billion, and I called the acting MD that please, as the chair of the finance committee, don't proceed with that because we don't have a framework for spending this money. And I thought I had done my work by stopping a request which I thought was not in order. Chair?
Just, I'm sorry I keep interrupting because we are now really getting puzzled. Who is telling lies? Now you have thrown the management in the bus. The corporation secretary, I'm sure every memorandum, contract, agreement that is signed at NSSF, you are involved. Now, the board is saying they do not know and they refused an expenditure of this money. But you and Ayota, Mr. Ayota, signed an MOU with COFTU and gave them even a part of the money that was meant to be that was meant to be given as per that memorandum. So are you going behind the board to now start even going into contracts to give this money out? Because they are saying for them they stopped the expenditure. Now they are saying they are surprised if this money has been spent. But already there are steps being taken to spend the money, signing an MOU, sending the money to personal accounts.
Chair, just spent. A member from COFTU has confirmed. A member from NOTU has confirmed. Each one of them received 100 million, and they have already spent the money against the guidance of the board that there must be clear guidelines on how this should be done. I just wanted...
Thank you, Chair. First, a comment which I'd wanted to raise earlier for the record. I am the custodian of the official records of the fund, official. And I put up my hand at the point at which Director Hassan mentioned to the committee of a meeting involving about, not a meeting, a discussion among 3 board members. It's important that the committee notes the official position, how boards make decisions by board resolution in a meeting. There's an agreed agenda, there are papers presented, resolutions are passed. I have those records, I have shared them. And to note that the discussion that Director Hassan mentioned was outside the boardroom. No wonder even I got to know about the breakdown yesterday. So Chair and members, I think it's important that when the questions are being posed, to put that into perspective. Was it an official board position, or was it based on discussions and understandings outside the boardroom? And that leads me to the questions you've just asked right now. The conclusion of that memorandum of understanding is an operational arrangement. The board's role was to pass a policy, the stakeholder management policy, which they did. The implementation is management. Now, that memorandum of understanding did not mention amounts. In fact, it mentioned that the budgets would be predetermined and pre-agreed. There is a clear board resolution, the official board position, that instructed management to come up with work plans and initiatives. That was repeated, the extracts we've shared, repeatedly up to even the meeting of 25th November. In that respect, there was no budget. The letter of Dr. LYOMOKI, I also learned about it personally a few weeks ago. How was money released? I don't know. How the money was released would have to be answered by whoever released the money. But the official record is clear. Management is expected to avail the initiatives. So I submit. Thank you.
Chair.
No, Honorable Amos, I have not yet submitted.
Thank you. Chair, I was looking at the chronology. Member from Notu said this matter was shown to him when he was seated with Dr. Silva and on the phone of a former MD. And that in that discussion, Dr. Mugisha Silva advised that that matter was not the right way to go. Yes.
Said when we are in Imbarara, is it Ibulala? There is a hotel called Ibulala. Stan is my brother. The reason why I'm raising that historical background, I saw my friend Biarogaba yesterday implying that we put a lot of pressure on him to give us money.
No, actually.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I was with Silva Mugisha in Imbarara. Then Biarogaba joined us. We are standing, not even seated after break. Then he wrote this one. He said, "This one is for you. This one is for you." Then I said, "Under which framework?"
And what was...
now this is the one who was soliciting me. Again, he's come here telling the committee that we are putting pressure on him. So when we went in Mbale, Biarogaba brought again that issue, and he wanted the board to approve. And Dr. Silva guided. I'm sorry, I'm name because I did not prepare him that I'm going to mention your name, but I feel it is also...
When he showed you that message that this one is for you, I'm putting it for you in the budget, didn't you see the total?
I don't remember, but as if he said 500 for 80 members of the board, something like that. He said 500 for 80 members of the board.
But you saw the total of the whole, the 200 for the chairman, the 500
No,
for
it was scrolling his phone like this. You could not see the whole total. You could not see it.
You only saw yours?
No, ours. He said ours. So, when we are in Mbali, in the board meeting, why I want to inform my dear sister Agnes, when we are in Mbali, in a board meeting, again the same, Biarogaba raised the same issue. And Director Silva guided, and so you people, this matter of involving the board in matters of social cooperative responsibility.
Chair, you can stop there. You can stop there.
And we,
no, that is enough.
That matter be drawn from us. Let other structures manage social cooperative responsibility, but not the board.
Okay.
It's okay.
They scrolled. You proceed.
It's okay. I wanted to develop it from the point where Dr. Silva guides, like you have put it. And he is still insisting that is the position. Okay? So the issue here we are looking at is eventually this money crops up under that budget of corporate social responsibility, and the corporation secretary is saying it was not approved. She's equally surprised. Yet we see your colleague, unfortunately he's not in, Dr. LYOMOKI, requisitioning for the same amount for that purpose. And you're saying you're not part of it. What is important here, and I'm coming to Agnes, is the corroborative evidence. You're saying you are not sure, you are not aware of this, and it has come up. Since you're part of management of the fund, have you in any way ever had issues to do with this, with the acting MD about the expenditure?
As I have observed, the board is really moving on a serious collective responsibility. With your guidance, we are going to request the board to take leave somewhere. We will designate, and we shall interact with one member at a time. Clerk, kindly get us a very comfortable room. These are very big people, where they can sit, relax, and not hear what we are discussing as we interact with one individual per individual.
Chair, through you, as the clerk makes that preparation, there is something I thought I could put. Looking at the 1.8 billion, but
why don't you wait? You can be the first to select who you wish to interact with. You can select, the rest can start.
I think I will begin with the most honest I've found on the committee. I think is the most honest so far, according to our interaction. So.
Okay. Everyone who comes here will be put on oath. We are tired, really. We want to come to a conclusion on this matter. So can we have everyone else excuse us? It's going to be a very long evening. No? Hmm?
Picked her bag, so I don't know if she's still around.
She claimed she was not feeling well. She informed us, but because she feared, she had to come officially communicate. So can we start with the gentleman? Can we have a gentleman on oath? Clerk, administer the oath.
So, I, Hassan Luabai Mudiba, solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give touching the matter before the Select Committee on the State of Affairs in National Social Security Fund, NSSF, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
Honorable members, we want short and precise questions. We don't want pages with preambles. Kindly, because for the interest of time, a short, precise question with a response. I'm sure you're aware of what you have just done. I don't need to update you.
One, Mr. Hassan, were you part of passing that budget, the 220 budget that was passed? Were you part of the process of passing it? Are you aware and do you know the details of the budget that you passed, if you did take part in passing it?
The budget of 220, that is the operational budget?
Yes, the operations budget.
The operational budget is passed under the total framework budget. And the budget, of course, it is divided on two sides, recurrent and capital. Yeah, so when you are passing, you pass the total.
So when you were passing, you were there when passing it, and you had a copy of this document that you were passing?
Yes, we had a copy of the budget.
Okay. In that budget, there is under other operating costs, which amounts to 6.5 billion.
Yes.
Did you see that figure? Did you see?
No, actually, when we are passing the budget, the items were not itemized. They were not itemized. It was presented by Silva Mujisha, doctor, and I asked him, but this budget matters are not itemized.
They brought a budget which was a block figure.
Yeah, it was a block figure.
So the budget that you saw, yes, that was passed, they just brought a figure that you're passing 220 billion.
Not
without
220, the total budget of NSSF is beyond 200, but that was operational figure. But not itemized budget, the way that recurrent, it is this item 1, 2, 3, and
Yes.
even I raised it to...
Hassan,
to
Mr. Hassan.
Yes.
This is the entire budget of the NSSF, which includes the operating expenses, the other costs, everything that we are talking about, the 220 billion.
Including capital expenditure or recurrent.
This one has, I don't know if you have a copy, because
No, I don't have a copy.
it has including the maintenance, equipment costs. This is the operating budget of 2022-2023, and then other operating costs.
Yes.
So I'm particularly interested in the strategic partnership, high innovation, and MasterCard Foundation. Did you look at that figure, the 6.5 billion?
No, those figures were mentioned during financial committee when we were preparing the budget in the financial
They were
committee.
mentioned.
Yeah, but when we passed...
So you don't have
No.
knowledge of how the 6.5?
No.
Chair, perhaps we can move on. I think I'll forward it to another person because he claims not to have knowledge on that.
Mr. Hassan, to me you seem quite genuine.
Quite what?
You are genuine. You affirm that?
Yes.
And I hope that by the oath you have taken, you are telling us the truth.
And you are honorable?
Musila John, the Rastaman. Okay. Thank you for reminding me to introduce myself to you. You have been a civil servant, and
Yes.
possibly you retired, so?
Yes.
And you are aware of issues of moral turpitude, isn't it?
Yes.
You insinuated here before the chairman, and they said that somebody or the former MD was on a course of influence peddling. Am I right? When he showed you at Mbarara, in Mbarara, he scrolled down
Yes.
and insinuated to you, and they said, this is your party, even without you knowing. What did you do thereafter?
Yeah, I have stated that.
Yes.
That I told him that if you are soliciting, I'm not interested in soliciting. Let us go to the board and address the issue of your contract before Mujish.
Good.
And when we went in the board, we raised the 3 issues to the chairman. As this man expressed interest of renewal of his contract, they said he has not expressed interest. 2, have you appraised his performance? They said they are not appraised his performance. 3, has SACA, the committee which is responsible for staff, been involved? They said no. Then we said we cannot proceed, and that is where we ended. And we said you allow SACA to proceed with the process. Let him and his deputy express interest that they may want, they still want to continue, because we may renew when they are not interested. Then 3, you give us the performance appraisal.
Okay. Mr. Hassan, did you feel that that was some kind of a moral turpitude issue and would be punishable and it would be criminal? And if it was so, did you report to the other board members?
Punishable.
Yeah,
How,
within. When somebody is trying to solicit that you may appoint him, that one, you know it from the civil service background, that it is criminal, it's not right. So did you raise it with other board members apart from Mugisha, who was almost witness while he was doing this?
Yeah, when the board convened in Mbali, that idea was thrown out. We said the board should not be involved in corporate social responsibility. And I don't feel that under the law, I'm supposed to report everything that I get, even if I may have a case to present, but I think you may give as option is a chance to sort it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hassan, you are a board member, but you sit on 2 subcommittees of the board. Which ones?
Yeah, I sit on finance and investment.
Finance and investment. So in the subcommittee of finance, they bring you detailed, itemized budgets.
Yes.
That then you consolidate from the different departments and then bring to the board for approval.
Yes.
Now, the issue of corporate social responsibility, were you given itemized budgets in the finance committee? Yes or no?
The issue of social corporate responsibility, of course, we have several departments
Yes.
which report under finance committee.
Yes. Corporate
And
social, this,
yeah,
I'm talking about this specific
and
budget.
each department reports procurement, what.
Leave alone procurement. Now we are on the 1.8 billion.
Yes.
Was it broken down in the finance committee of the board?
Yes, it should have been broken down, but I don't
Was
really
it?
recall it now.
Don't say it should have been. Was it broken down?
I don't remember that particular item because.
Okay.
But,
Are you aware as NOTO? You
Yes.
represent NOTO on the board.
Yes, please.
Are you aware you are supposed to get 400 million
Yes.
this financial year?
Yes.
Where did it come from?
Actually, that one it came from when we are identifying the stakeholder management, and we.
Stop there.
Yes.
Did you approve that 400 million
Yes.
in the budget?
Yes.
In the finance committee
Yes.
and in the general board?
Yes.
So that 400 million for NOTO included 400 million also for COF2.
Yeah.
What else?
That is on
Yes.
the 400.
No, 400 million for NOTO, 400 million for COF2.
Yeah.
What else was part of that budget in addition to yours and COF2?
No, now that one on a 400 million was specifically to handle matters related with financial literacy.
Don't
And
mind
then
the
compliance.
terminology you used.
Yes.
Do you recall what else was within that block where you have 400, COF2 has 400? What else was in that block?
I'm not getting you, Honorable.
What the honorable member is saying, you are saying you didn't look at the particulars
Yes.
of the breakdown of the corporate social responsibility,
Yes.
but you saw the 400.
Yeah, because we lobbied for it.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's saying, where is it coming from? Is it
The
coming from the
background.
corporate social responsibility budget? Because I have the bank statements here.
Where it is coming from?
Yes. Who initiated it?
Yeah, I was starting with that one, and then you said you don't want. I said at strategic planning level, when we are identifying the stakeholders to play different roles, we identify that we have gaps in non-compliance.
At what level? The general board or the finance committee?
No, at strategic plan, it was at the board level.
So who decided that you should get 400, COF2 400, and the others, whatever they are getting? Who decided on that figure?
Management.
Management, specifically
Yes,
who?
yes. That was the MD Byalugaba. then.
MD Byalugaba,
Yeah, yes.
okay. Chair, if you may allow, let me ask you, Mr. Hassan,
Yes.
there are 2 board members that resigned
Yes.
from NOTO and the Federation of Employers. You are aware?
Yes, please.
Are you aware that these board members were paid all the period they should have been on the board?
Yes.
Did you approve this payment as the board?
I remember it must have been approved because it was a process which was undertaken and the board was fully involved.
In your view, was it correct?
It wasn't.
But you approved?
Yeah, because the circumstances then, as if the board had no option, because even I have a letter here which was written by the Minister of Finance, advised that we shouldn't go, but the circumstances at the time, and for us, the board, when you look at the supervisor action, sometimes there is even silent about our relationship with our supervisors. In the case of any settlement, the law does not.
We want to use very few words.
Yes.
You received 100 million as NOTU?
Yes.
Honorable Gaffer, let him substantiate on the circumstances. You are saying the Minister of Finance wrote to you not to do it.
No. The minister, the circumstances which led to that. We were called in an abrupt meeting in the Ministry of Gender Labour. We went there in the boardroom.
By who?
The Minister of Labour, Honorable Betty Amongi. The board members of NSSF. Actually, for me, I was in Iganga. Then they called me on the phone. There's an urgent meeting. You come tomorrow.
Yes.
And I drove. I came back. I reported. When we got there, we were with the minister and the Attorney General and the other ministers. They were like 5. Then the situation was the board was illegally constituted. Then we said, how was it illegally constituted? They said there is no woman. There are not enough women. But we said the board of NSSF is a constituency board formed under ILO Convention 144, and the constituencies are government, worker, and employer. And the law does not specifically mention that legal requirement that a woman must. And 2, when each constituency is electing, there is no obligation or anybody who can direct them on what to do, because we constitute in our respective constituencies and choose people according to the way we see them. Now, if by chance we get a lady or a youth in that, you can not say that it is part of the requirement of the law.
Chair, allow me to cut the story short.
Yes, yeah.
So you were 2 members from NOTU?
Yes.
You and Mr.
Julius Bahemuka. Yes.
So who decided that Julius Bahemuka should be the one to resign?
No, there was...
Why didn't you resign and leave Julius?
No, for me I said I cannot resign. Yeah, because I came to serve and the law is very clear.
And Julius also came to serve.
No, what I'm saying, the law is very clear. It defines how you come in the board and how you exit.
But you came together?
Yeah, we came together. But
through the same process?
Yes. And me, I said I cannot resign.
So who decided that he should resign?
No, and there was lobbying. Then I think my colleague was convinced.
There was lobbying?
Yeah.
By?
We say
who was lobbying?
No, because at first it was confirmed that there is no way somebody can be removed from the board until he has resigned, or it is defined under the law, the circumstances under a board member ceases to be a board member. So under that prevailing circumstance, there was no way anybody can make any board member to lose his...
Finally, on my side, Chair, Mr. Hassan, now this is only you about other board members, because this can save you alone, or it can take all of you. Tell us the truth. How is the process of budgeting and budget approval? Do you look at details? Do they just bring you block figures? Do they bring things in a hurry and you just approve? What exactly happens during that process?
But I think what is happening in the NSSF is what is happening in other public bodies. Yeah, where you find that sometimes things are not given due time. Like now, the board under the law is supposed to meet once in 3 months. And the issues you are covering, you cannot cover them in a single meeting. Yeah, they may require even more time, but you may end up being obliged to handle that thing within that short time you have. Yeah, so I cannot even blame anybody, but it is the law sometimes.
So you are bombarded with so many things?
Yeah, within a time, like
Within a short time?
you are supposed to have a quarterly meeting, one meeting, committee, then the board.
I thought a board meeting like this one of approval of the budget is not a one-day event. It's like 2-3 days. You go somewhere in Mbale or Mbarara, and you are there for 2, 3, 4 days, and you do so many things.
Yeah, even then, but if you look at the budget of NSSF, if it could be done the way Parliament does, it could be fair. But as of now, you find that you are given very little time to handle the magnitude of things. So you may end up rushing and even failing to take due attention to certain things.
So you think it is intentional to give you little time so that so many things go without your notice?
I can't say that it is intentional, because the blame may end up even with the framers of the law.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
No more
Mine is
questions.
one. Who wrote off the Uganda Clays loan?
I was not on the board then.
No, but it has just been written off.
Is it? No, I have actually I heard of that thing yesterday, because I followed the debate yesterday on TV throughout. Yeah, I have never heard of it, to be honest. Yeah, but I was thinking the MD
Honorable Masaba, Honorable
Mr. Hassan,
Kakembo.
when did you begin working as a board member? When did you join?
September last year.
September last year?
No, this is 2023.
Yes.
September 2020.
2020?
2021.
2021.
Yes.
But this was written off last year in the books of ending June 2022, meaning you should be aware of.
Who wrote it off? Yes, because yesterday when I saw Mr. Dialogaba testifying on the same subject matter, I saw him committing himself that they are prepared Uganda Clays and it is ready to pay back the loan. Now, if the loan was written off, now what are they going to pay back? That is what is confusing me.
Vamos.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to appreciate that you're sharing with the committee good information. However, I want to draw you back to the other 400 million that you said you as NOTU were lobbying for.
Yes. Not as such, but as workers' representatives. When we came to the fund, we found so many innovations and opportunities where the members were not benefiting. And one of them was the financial literacy. Then there was innovator, then there's the yield fund, then there's... So we thought that maybe we could make a part of our constituents. After all, they are also contributing members of NSSF. That maybe they could also benefit from that.
Okay, so now...
That was the consideration, that influence, but not that are not to lobby it, because it was never even written to NSSF that we wanted this. But it is the directors who thought that this one could be an additional value of our being on the board. And that's where we said, yeah.
So you're saying you as members of the board,
yes,
representing NOTU, you realized that there was need?
Yeah, like now the issue of financial literacy.
Okay, just a moment, we've heard that. So after realizing that you could also be benefit from this resource.
The members, not me.
Yes,
yeah, but the
NOTU, you're representing NOTU.
Yes.
You took the initiative as board members to lobby.
Yes.
And have it.
Yes.
Do you realize conflict of interest? Yet you're the one supposed to approve a budget. Now you're initiating the budget yourself.
Conflict of interest in what context, Honorable? I don't understand. Like if I'm a director, I'm at a committee level, and a branch issued the financial literacy program, then I say, when we're identifying the stakeholders, and we say, why can't we include unions as stakeholders in that?
You see, why I'm bringing out that, is that who is supposed to generate the budget?
The technical staff.
But now you're the one generating
No,
that.
I'm not generating.
You're suggesting.
I make an input.
Oh, you made an input.
Yes.
Okay. At one time, we have been told that the board requested for an increase of their retainer. And now you've been talking about how you meet once and yet you need more time. So do you remember this conversation and what was it about? So, and what was your proposal?
Proposal, no. No.
On your retainer, or who brought this idea of increasing your retainer?
Yeah, there was a study which was, of course, most of these things are influenced by what is happening in the economy. Like if the cost of raising, the cost of living rises and the inflation rises, then people can consider, say, how do we handle these things? Two, people have studied, you can study how other bodies treated of similar taking.
Okay. Just from there, the final one, Chair. Yes, you're saying there was a study taken. You remember what that time you were earning as a board member?
Yes.
So can you tell this committee what you were earning then and your proposal because of the results of the study?
Okay, we were earning like 7.5 million. With taxation, they tax off pay as you earn and other deductions, then you end up with 4 point something. So our proposal was that it could go from 7, because there was a skyrocketing in the inflation. There was a time when the inflation was so high, and we computed and we thought that if it could be like a 7.5 to 10 or 15, that's the ordinary member, then it would make that they make a deduction is over like 5 million, then you remain with 10. Yeah, but not that we asked for 30 million. Fortunately, the study was almost within that.
The study was indicating 30.
No,
so you brought in the figure of 30. How does it come in?
No, it is the press. I have been reading these days that these people, actually there is somebody who is even demanding me money, who will say, you got 30 million, why don't you pay me? Yeah.
No, honorable members. Honorable Kakem.
I want to thank you for being honest.
Thank you.
To serve the interest of your constituents on the board.
Yes, please.
We are indeed very grateful. However, tell us, on the board, as the members, do you work as a team, or there are individuals who feel they are more important than others?
No, we work as a team. We have no problem, apart from a few cases, but we work as a team. We have no problem.
You have no problem with any?
Huh?
You have no problem with any member?
No, apart from this brother of ours whom we know, but we don't have no problem.
You said it, because my second question was going to be about the letter the chairperson wrote complaining about one of your members.
Yes.
You agree with the letter?
Yes.
And you also agree that there is a problem?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. What would be your advice to this committee? Because this is a fact-finding committee. We are here to improve NSSF Workers Fund. In your words, you have realized the gaps. And you have evidence from the management that there is a lot of pressure from the board and some political interference in the works of NSSF. Do you agree with that?
But it is management saying it. I don't know the context under which they are.
You don't know the context.
They are calling it pressure. But I recommend on it, yes. A member asked you about your knowledge on a resolution that was passed by the members
in regard to your the increment of your retainer or emolument. You call it salaries, retainer, emolument. How do you call it?
It is called the retainer.
So it was under which circumstances or under which legal framework you feel that was proper that all of you must, increase your salaries at the expense of the savers' money?
No, but I think, Honorable Kakembu, the issue here is the board entitled to remuneration or not. And it is yes, that all board, not only NSSF, they are facilitated in the exchange.
I agree you are entitled.
Yes, yeah.
But the increment, who determines what you will get?
Okay, it is the Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance.
What we do, like you constitute is that the way we do.
You said it well. You can not go very far. You said it's the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, ours is
it determines your
yes. Actually,
retainer.
We make
but this time we see the managing director writing to the minister that was a resolution from the body members, including the MD, that they are proposing an increment. Was that irregular or it was?
No, it is within our mandate.
You include your own salary?
Yeah, a decision of a board is communicated to other stakeholders by the MD. It is not...
No, the decision, I'm not asking about the decision.
Yes.
I asked about who determines your pay, and you said rightly that it's the Minister of Finance.
Yeah, actually appointing your authority.
Very
now
good.
It is
That's
labor.
the Minister of Finance, now it is labor.
Yes.
Whatever. Now, we have evidence, there is a letter from the MD, because he was communicating your resolution,
yes,
which I suspect you were part of the resolution,
yes,
because you work as a team. So
yes.
under
No,
the
not
rule
yes.
of collective responsibility, you also agreed to increase your retainer.
Yes, to propose an increment. Ours was a proposal. It is not an increment, but it is a proposal. And the law gives us that mandate.
The law gives you the mandate.
Yes. And when the proposal was received by the minister has the discretion to take it, to amend it, even to ignore it. But what he did, he proposed that according to the public policy at the moment and the economic condition is prevailing, the figure that has been proposed are unattainable, and he gave a figure which he thought that it was adequate in the circumstances.
Who thought the figure was
Gender?
The Minister of Gender?
Yes.
And was the MD writing the Minister of Gender asking for a crazy increment? So the Minister of Gender was right to reduce it down because it was too much beyond it.
Yeah, it is a proposal. It is like now, if I ask my son, how much money do you want? She can say that I want 100,000. But if I give him 10,000, he will say thank you. Yeah, there is nobody who say that he doesn't want to teach him.
Honorable members, we end with this one. I want to close with this.
Yes.
Mr. Hassan, you agree with us and with many Ugandans that there is a lot of mismanagement of public fund, of workers' fund in NSSF. Do you agree? Mismanagement? You can call it irregular processes.
NSSF is one of the best performing organizations I know in Uganda. Actually, the other time we hosted Honorable Amos Lugorobi, and when we engaged him and he appreciated that, no, NSSF is not reckless as such. It's not.
I'll end it. Okay. Honorable members, ask all your questions. All. Honorable Buck.
Chair, mine is just, you have interacted with this committee this the second time.
Yes, please.
Do you see it being biased in any way or another or not?
No, I have never seen a well-constituted committee like this one. Yeah, because I followed you from the time when you handled the other minister, and I've been following you, and even the way you are handling this one. I haven't seen a problem, even if we may not agree on certain things, but the way you are proceeding is fair, not even just, but fair.
Questions? Yes, Honorable?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Hassan, of quarterly meetings you sit. Is your law completely that you cannot sit any meetings before within the region of your quarter?
They will give some options
of opening.
Like in cases of an emergency, that you can have more than the designated meetings.
Okay.
But of course you cannot go to, like you can't say that let us meet daily.
Of course
not.
not.
A reasonable discretion is given to
I meant under duress that you are making a budget and whatever, and you need maybe 2, 3, 4 days to scrutinize and whatever.
Yeah.
Can't you use that opening? For example?
No, actually we beg if you can give that there should be some provisions within the law which allows the board to attend to certain important things. It would be very good for us.
Bwana Hassan, did you as a board pass the work plans with the budget?
Yes.
That is enough. You don't need to preempt them so much.
Yeah, but I don't know whether I can make a comment.
No, before we, you will make a concluding remark. Now, the 40 billion, you are on the investment committee.
Yes.
We have seen the minister asking you to make sure and to get commitment from the MD to give the Grain Council 40 billion. Did this matter come to the investment committee of the board?
It hasn't.
Did it come to the board?
It hasn't, because I remember the other time I'm a member of the investment committee, and the last investment committee we are asking management to clarify on the issue of Grain Council. Because we visited the Capeta, I was among the team, and for us we took it as a field tour where Uganda learned certain things, and there were a lot of things. There was a professor who came and lectured us on the relationship between labor and the capital, and the need to harmonize the two sectors. And we appreciated it, but it doesn't mean that we are duty bound to take whatever we got.
Did you pass the 6 billion within your budget?
We didn't.
You didn't?
We didn't.
Did you receive a request to reallocate money from your total operational budget to cater for this money?
Yes, we got.
And what happened after?
No, and now when we got the request, it was it was a bit contentious because what was being talked about, we were talking about voluntary recruitment of members under the new Amendment Act. And we are looking at it that there was no way you could approve this money. First of all, without a work plan, but also this is a new legal framework where we feel we need a statutory regulation to guide this process.
Okay.
So we thought that we should have, first of all, like me, I insisted as a Mudivasan on this one that we need to get a statutory instrument. And the statutory instruments are made by the minister and the parliament. And that process has not been concluded. Then we need to look at the work plan and the other things. But there are other forces who are interested in passing it, but...
who are these other forces?
There are several forces.
You need to tell us.
Yeah, we had actually, even the board, we are a bit divided when that issue.
Tell us.
Some people wanted it to, like the acting MD, Mr. Ayota, wanted that money to be passed.
Mr. Ayota wanted it?
Yeah, and we said, no, we cannot pass this money.
Who else?
And even the other day when we went, said, but the thing was passed in the budget. Then I asked him, if it was passed in the budget, why did the IGG stop that meeting? Because there was a board meeting where it was specifically stated the item was to revise the budget to procure 6.4 billion.
For the minister?
Not for the minister, but for that activity. So as we are proceeding...
Just for the record, you had a meeting, a special meeting to to see where to get money.
No, not special meeting, but a board
Okay,
meeting.
you had a board meeting.
Yes.
The agenda was to look for money to cater for the 6 billion.
Actually, there were two items.
Mm-hmm.
One, revise the budget, get 6 billion.
Revise the budget and get 6 billion.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then 1 billion to pay a former deputy MD.
1 billion to pay a former deputy MB.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Gerard Denisari.
So you wanted to give her 1 billion.
This is an item on the agenda. It is not that we wanted, but the agenda was brought that way.
So who initiated, okay, you have told us Mr. Ayota was seriously pushing
Yes.
for the 6 billion.
Yeah, then we said, this one we cannot approve it.
And who was pushing for the 1 billion?
No, it is the same management, but we didn't approve. But the reason why we didn't approve the 6 billion is one, first of all, it was like a hot potato at the moment. The environment was so, because outside there, 6 billion was like 6. But also from official point of view, the basic requirements we are missing, like the statutory instrument, which they call regulation, we are not there.
So who initiated the 6 billion? Was it the minister or did it come from the management? It's just a simple question.
No, but there is a letter which came from the minister to the chairman. For me, that is
So
where I
it
started
came
from.
from the minister. You don't know how they came with 6 billion because she told us you people came up with the work plan.
Actually, she told us that a team led by the MD Byalugaba visited her and suggested this amount of money. But I was not part of the team. Me, I learned of it when Byalugaba reported it to Honorable Kasaija, and Honorable Kasaija summoned us. So when they summoned us, we heard about it, and no, he didn't support. Actually, it was cautioned that how do you ask this man and so on, but...
So, Mr. Byalugaba is the one who reported to Kasaija?
Yes.
To the Minister Kasaija?
Yes. Yeah, from meeting the Minister of Labour and proposing that they can provide this money, he went and reported to the Minister of Finance. So the Minister of Finance had to summon the board and his colleague, and we had a meeting in finance about it.
And how was the meeting?
No, the meeting was stormy because it was a bit exchange between the minister. Why did Byalugaba report her? After them going to her, that type of exchange was there.
So why did you refuse to approve the 1 billion for the former deputy MD? And what did they tell you? Why were they trying to pay the former deputy MD 1 billion?
No, okay, the lady is entitled to compensation, but the way they computed the figure, we do not agree with it.
Compensation for what?
No, she was illegally removed from her office. She was a deputy MD for NSSF, then she was removed. Then she went to court. Now, when she went to court, court awarded her 200 million.
200?
200 million. Now, NSSF appealed against the 200 million. Again, after, even before the appeal is disposed, again they withdraw for out of court of settlement. And
they
again,
want to pay?
So when we asked them, the logic is not coming. How do you appeal against the 200 million?
And now
again,
you
you
are
want to
requesting for
pay
1 billion.
1 billion out of court settlement. So it was no measuring up, and we played out.
Chair, this
what?
Chair, this member of the body needs to be appreciated. He's really genuine.
Can we give you a cup of tea?
He's telling
Yeah,
the
but
truth.
sure, I wanted to comment on
We have not-
not...
Okay. So the 6 billion came from nowhere. The minister called the MD, former MD.
She's the MD who went. The minister did not call her because according to her, she said that it is the MD who asked for a meeting with her, with that ID. Because at first, the Minister of Finance thought that the Minister of Labour was in error. But later, he saw that as if Byalugaba was not respecting the Minister of Gender Labour. To him, he thinks that this fund must be in finance. And anybody, anything to do with labor, he does not feel comfortable. So, me, I saw the Minister of Finance,
Okay.
questioning Byarugaba that this is what
During the meeting to agree on the 1 billion to the former deputy MD and the 6 billion, the IGG brought a letter in the middle of the meeting.
Yeah, as we are there, and we are ready to fight because some of us were not ready to pass this money.
So apart from IOTA, who was supporting this money seriously?
Even Dr. LYOMOKI A was supporting.
So it was Dr. LYOMOKI and IOTA.
Yeah, actually they were good, yeah.
Who
That one
else?
is not even a secret.
Who
Everybody
else?
knows
Who else
it.
on the board?
Everybody knows it is not even a secret.
Yeah, that one is not, but except the people are sensitive with information. Maybe I'm not sensitive, but I feel.
Who else was supporting that move apart from Dr. LYOMOKI and Mr. Iota? Who else?
At least in my assessment.
Those two.
Yeah.
So, okay, where was the 6 billion going? Was it going to the Ministry of Gender?
No. The letter from the minister was proposing areas of expenditure.
We have seen the letter, yes.
Yeah, he was talking of expanding the membership of NSSF through voluntary and so on. And this is why we said we should have a framework. We cannot just pass it without a framework. And one of the framework
we want to know where they were, because some of some of the details of that stormy meeting were how it's going to be implemented and where it is going. And the letter of the minister that we have received was clearly stating how they wanted to spend this money. Not so? On diaspora, was NSSF going to spend on the diaspora?
NSSF? In the chairman's letter?
In the minister's letter?
To the chairman? Was it also an activity within? I don't remember. Maybe if I can look at that letter. But
okay.
Let me ask you one question also.
Honorable members, questions.
Something small here. Mr. Hassan, I want to appreciate you for being honest. Now, we have a resolution from the board renewing the contract of Mr. Iota. Did you participate in that meeting and the resolution there?
As what?
As the board, to renew the contract of Mr. Iota.
As what?
As the new, as the MD, now is acting capacity.
No, the board.
You renew his contract for another 5 years.
The resolution was to nominate him as a deputy MD.
You nominated him.
The board nominates. That's we nominate and send it to
How many people did you nominate on that day?
On deputy MD?
On the deputy MD, yes.
No, it is one. It was not competitive.
You nominated one.
It was not MD one, deputy MD one.
Acting.
So are you meaning nomination for acting or deputy MD?
No, it is both. Because
the two are different.
His contract was renewed for another 5 years.
After nomination by the board?
Yes.
As the deputy MD?
As the deputy MD for another 5 years.
We did it.
Based on his performance.
Yes.
And you appraised him.
Yes.
And you agree he was the best performer. He's
yes.
a good man who can take care
both.
of our money. Both of them.
Yes.
And you have just told us there are some irregularities you witnessed yourself.
What?
Pushing. Irregularities.
That is recent after nomination.
Oh, before nomination they are good people.
It's like a few weeks back. A nomination is like a few months back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acting MD. You participated in giving him those powers.
I'm asking you, which one do you mean?
Acting MD. Acting MD now.
No, that one the board was not involved
with. The board was not. Who then nominated him for the same?
No, nobody nominated him.
But he is the acting MD?
That is the appointing authority.
Who is the appointing
authority?
Because
the board just nominate, we don't appoint.
Yes.
You recommend, you don't nominate.
You recommended him for the position?
Yeah, we use them interchangeably. Nomination and recommendation.
They're the same?
They mean the same.
They mean the same. You recommended him. They are not the same.
They are not the same.
Nomination and recommendation, they are not the same. So you recommended him?
Yeah, you nominate and recommend.
Based on what? Because according to what you've just told us, it seems you have also
No,
gaps in the way he has been doing
I'm
his work.
saying, these people, even when we met the president, he said the reason why he wants these people to be appointed is on the account of their performance.
I was asking what was the basis of his renewal? Best performance? Was he the best performer in the company?
Yeah. One, best performance. Two, when this fund was going to be liberalized, IOTA worked with us as trade unionists to defeat that liberalization. And we have been working with him very well. Even when he was the chief financial officer of the fund, we were working with him well. Yes.
So he was a friend?
Yeah.
A long-time friend?
Yeah, a long-time friend.
That was the basis?
No, not the basis. We are saying the performance, the networking, we were using them when...
But how can his performance be the best when you've just told us that him and Dr. LYOMOKI, those two, were the one pushing the irregularity within the fund?
No, but 6 billion compared to the 17 trillion, if you get that percentage, you cannot overall say that is a bad performance.
Oh.
Yeah, that can be a mistake in judgment, and we cannot disregard the good things one has done on account of a mere mistake in judgment on a small thing.
We are told some of the board members also contribute to NSSF savings. Are you one of them?
Yes.
Do you also save with NSSF?
Yes.
And NSSF contributes 10% for you?
Yes, please.
And you put 5%?
Yes.
For how long have you done that? You started when you joined the board?
Yes.
Or you have been before?
To be a member of NSSF?
Yes.
I have contributed from NSSF from when I was in State Council in 1980.
Ah, so you came when you were already a saver.
Yeah, I have my account, and actually when people were saying that I'm a civil servant, they
you
checked and found my
And you are
account.
continuing?
Yes.
You think it is also proper that because you are not a staff of NSSF, you are a board member, you don't get salary, you get retainer. You think it is proper that NSSF contributes for you like a staff?
Yeah, Mr.
And not
Chairman,
only you, even other board members that...
Mr. Chairman, actually those are the two comments I wanted you to...
You can make the comment. Yeah, you can make the comment.
Including
on
the
that
one of health insurance.
And health insurance.
I wanted to merge the two.
You about them.
Because I followed the debate yesterday very, very well, and I came thinking that maybe if I'm given the opportunity, we can... Let me start with health insurance. If you read Occupational Health and Safety Act 2006, section, there are several sections, but I can start with section number 2, interpretation section. Under that act, they use the word work.
Please extend near the microphone because it is being recorded.
Okay,
yes.
they use the word work, and the word worker means, as per interpretation section, a worker means a person who performs work regularly or temporarily for an employer and includes a public officer.
For an employer?
Yeah, for an employer.
Yes.
And if you say health in relation to the worker means not mere absence of a disease or infirmity, it includes the physical and the mental elements affecting a health working indirectly or directly related to safety and hygiene at work. So here we were looking at, like, for me, I'm not an employee, as the act is saying. But what will happen if I'm in the lift and I get accident? Or if I am infected with a sickness within, when my performance as a body member of NSSF, or as I'm going or coming back to NSSF, I get an accident. How am I protected? And if you go to section 23 of the same act, it says employers' duty to persons other than employees. That is section 23 of the act. It says employers' duty to persons other than employees.
Let me ask you a question. Are there casual workers at NSSF? Casual workers? Temporary workers?
Yeah, they are there, but I have not taken much interest in it.
Do they also get those benefits?
I don't know. I have not taken much interest in it.
You're a board member, you should find out.
There is a committee responsible for staff. It's called Dissecting, and I'm not on Osaka.
Who is on Osaka among the board members?
They will identify themselves.
Members of the board, who is on Osaka? Yes. The name again? First wait.
Penina.
Penina. There are board members among you who are benefiting beyond the retainer and other allowances. You are going ahead to get medical insurance from NSSF, and you are getting NSSF contribution of 10%, as if you are a staff of NSSF. How did this come about? Under what legal framework does NSSF, does the fund contribute for you NSSF savings when you are not staff and employees of NSSF?
Chair, through you, Chair, as a member of SACA, that matter is actually a board matter. At SACA level, we do not handle the board remuneration. It's a board matter. It comes straight to the board. So it's a question that is open to the whole board, not to
Yes,
a SACA
now you
member.
talk as a member of the board and as a lawyer. Under what legal framework?
Well, there's no legal framework, but it is practice, a good practice that has been at the fund for all the boards for the last, I don't know how many years, over 10 years.
Do you know,
a practice.
Do you know of any other board in this country whose members benefit like that the way you are doing? Any other board? We have National Water here. They have a board. Do your board members benefit from NSSF contribution and medical insurance? Tell me of any board in this country that has those benefits.
Through you, Chair, we haven't done any survey or benchmark to find out which institutions do that, but it's something we can do so that we have an informed opinion about
Under
it.
what legal framework?
There is no legal framework.
I was quoting the legal framework, Honorable, when...
That legal framework is not proper. So I was still asking, I don't know where she's going, Chair. Maybe another member can respond. We have heard a lot from him. PS, Mr. PS Finance, we are told some members of the board, I don't know if you are also one of them, are getting benefits including medical insurance and NSSF contribution. Under what legal framework?
Secondly, there is absolutely no legal framework for that. Thirdly, it is irregular.
Do you refuse yours and others allow it?
How did you not benefit and others are benefiting? Who made the decision on who should benefit and who should not?
I do not know, because that matter did not come to the board.
Okay. You don't need to ask too.
I think management should be in a better position to respond to that.
Mr. Agri, we have not yet heard your voice. To go to your ministry because you could not account for it under any legal framework. Just confirm.
Chair, honourable members, it's true we did agree that the 6 billion cannot come to Ministry of Gender.
But the intention, the earlier intention was to take it to gender.
Not necessarily, because the letter from the Honourable Minister, when she was making comments on that, on the budget, and where the 6 billion is mentioned, was advising NSSF to consider those areas, what she called strategic areas, and allocate funds, and gave a figure of 6 billion. So I'm not aware that she wanted it to come to Ministry of Gender.
Because in that meeting, you were the one who refused. Maybe they were telling lies, but they informed us you are the one who refused this money because you could not account for it under any legal framework, but the intention was to take it to gender. It's just yes or no, because I know she's your boss. I don't want to get into problems. So it's a yes or no answer. Was the intention to take it to gender, yes or no?
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions, honorable members? Honorable Massa.
Brief. One that I wanted to ask before they moved out, perhaps Dr. Silva or the chair could answer it. When we look at the other operating expenses, where the 1.8 billion appears, then there is that of the MasterCard Foundation. There are 4 sections there. And then there is again another one termed Financial Literacy Program. You're allocating still 400 million. Then there is partnership with DPP, URSB, NITA, UNIRA, 219 million. So where was this other money going as well? The 400, it's not part of the 1.8 billion. This is another figure, 400 million and 219 million. Then the second one concerns, I think the chairman is best to answer this, the development of Usefully. Perhaps you could give us more light, because management gave us their view yesterday. We need you to give us a view as well, because there are procurement issues. And you were advised, chairman, by the PPDA that the process should be done again. There were issues that in the pointing system, you had this, a way you played around with it, and then you wrote again declining their device, and again they wrote back standing by their position. So you should highlight that as well.
Okay, and the gentleman you left behind, Mr. Hassan, told us, this is to the chairman, told us that the minister, so that they were not involved in the appointment of Mr. Yota in acting capacity as MD. I have seen a letter amongst the documents you furnished this committee, where you, the chairman, are actually appointing him to act in acting capacity. Whereas Mr. Hassan says you did not discuss this. So the question is, did you do this on your own, or did you do this together with the board? Because the minister has no authority to do this under the NSSF Act. It is the board. Questions? This is the last round. We have another. Honorable Kakembo, then Honorable Baka.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mine will go to Mr. Chimboa, the chairman. Mr. Chimboa, this committee is interested in knowing the relationship between Metrobus and NSSF. And Tondeka. There was a meeting that went to Kapeka. You as the chairperson, do you see this as a proper way of doing business to move your board to Kapeka and visit General Salim Saleh to discuss investment opportunities in Kapeka? In your own words, is it proper? Was it proper? Was it irregular? Or it was some kind of political pressure on the board? Lastly, Mr. Chimboa, I know you as a man of great integrity, and I trust you on this. There are serious allegations with NSSF in regard to the budgeting and budget process. Who initiates the budget and under your oversight? Of course, the duty is on the board. Some of the members here are denying that.
Okay. Okay. Finish. Honorable, please finish.
That the budget is initiated by some board members, that they lobby for activities. And to me, I see it as irregular, and because it's not supported by any legal framework that the board members will sit down and start lobbying or initiating, activities to be involved in the budget. You as the chairperson of the board, is this true? If it is true, is it proper?
Chair, minor brief, just 2 questions. This one goes to the 2 sisters on the board. Any can answer. We have called you here twice. Do you see any biasness in the transaction of this committee? The second question goes to the chairman of the board. Under corporate governance, transparency, teamwork are some of the qualities that are required. In our file here, which we got from you, we are seeing 2 or 3 letters you are writing to the minister about one of your members not being cooperating with you. Could we expound on it for the committee to know?
Okay.
I'm going to talk very briefly, and I'll ask the head of projects, the committee on projects, to conclude on the use of Lule. Now, on the issue of the appointment of IOTA as acting MD, I am still going to talk almost very little because I wasn't in the country when all that happened. There was an acting chair, and he's seated right here. So he's going to talk about acting MD or caretaker MD. So the 2 are going to be clearly outlined. On Metu and Tondeka, I will explain from A to Z. And on the issue of Kapeka, from A to Z, I will take on that myself. On the issue of the budget, I will still make very little comment, and I will ask the head of finance in charge of budget to say something about budgeting and the difference between provisioning and authority to spend, because the 2 are different. Then finally, on the issue of governance, teamwork, and the letters I wrote to the Minister for Gender, I will explain that from A to Z. So we start with Yusuf Lule, Honorable Chairman. On Yusuf Lule, we got a petition as a board that there was something wrong going on with that project. So as a board, we decided to seek again assistance from PPDA, because they really are the authority. So we asked PPDA to investigate all the claims that were in the petitions. PPDA responded. And when they responded, management came back to us as a board. So we said, no, you come back to us as a board when you have a complete answer to what have been raised in the petition. So, and we want full support from PPDA, otherwise the project doesn't go ahead. So while all that was going on, we were overtaken by events. So I would like my colleague from projects to have something to add on.
Chairman, you've not concluded or clarified clearly. PPDA came out with a report,
yes,
explaining and stating that the grounds under which the petition was done, it was
yes,
right.
Yes.
There's a procedure that was supposed to be used, and you were supposed, yes, which was weighted, whereby financial score had 60%, yes, visibility. But you played around with it. The ones who were in charge, not maybe not particularly, but whoever was in charge played around in order to favor China Railway, that China Railway Construction Company, to get that bid. Yet, is that true or not? according to PPDA?
You should be having the correct result from the PPDA assessment of that procurement. And indeed, they recommended that the procurement process, I think, be halted. And we should have, the management should have taken into account the variables that PPDA identified. So when the board met, and I think we certainly instructed management to go back and be able to look at what is it that it takes for them to terminate, first of all, the process, because it could not continue any longer. It could not continue in that phase. So that process has since been terminated, and a fresh arrangement is underway. So that's what it is.
So who exactly was in charge of that process which was done wrongly? Who tried to favor? Because there was allegations of over 40 billion that was involved, and then something to do. So who was in charge?
All submissions to IPMC are done by management. They have the management team which does all that. They do the analysis in line with the investment policy.
Is it part of the board? Because when you talk of that committee,
they are not part of the board. They are not part of the board. There are two levels. The board exercises oversight function and fiduciary responsibility over the management and running of affairs of the board. According to the investment policy, the management identifies opportunities for investment and appraises those opportunities in line with the clear indicators which are spelled out in the manual. They go through all that and they do the recommendations with respect to what they have assessed to be.
Then why did the chairman go ahead to, actually, if I could read verbatim from this letter, we have taken note of the findings and the fact that the alterations to the score do not alter the best evaluated bidder. That was the chairman's response, and he wanted to go ahead. You know, when you sit for an exam and you cheat and you don't get the pass mark, it does not take away the fact that you didn't cheat.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. So why did the chairman want to go ahead and proceed with this project?
The procurement process had to be halted because of the advice. My question is, you have the in-house procurement team. Were you using the NSSF in-house procurement team or the external procurement team? Being
procurement arrangements are entirely in the purview of management. Management is in a better position to respond what team they used for that appraisal.
On the same matter?
But he has not answered that. Perhaps the chairman could answer, because you seem to have been insisting to go ahead, and actually PPDA still wrote back.
Honourable Masaba, quite frankly, I don't recall writing that letter or saying if it is there that it's underwritten under the chairman, read it. Because the much that I do remember is we're expecting a comprehensive report from management to the board on exactly what has transpired between PPDA and the management over this procurement. So,
Chairman,
yes, please.
This letter was written by you on the 21st of June 2020, and it is signed by 2022.
Okay.
21st June 2022, and it is signed by you, the chairman.
Yes.
And still PPDA still wrote back to you on the 24th of June, claiming they still stand their ground and they don't want you to proceed with that project.
Yes. But did we refuse it? If PPDA insisted that we do this again, I'm not very sure. We responded and said no. No, once PPDA states what you have stated, there is no way we can go ahead. Because you see, even if PPDA, the moment PPDA insists that we do something and we don't do it, we still have to come back to the board. There is no way the board will give approval when they don't see the final agreement of PPDA. Yes, good.
Chair, the issue of PPDA really came to the board by virtue of being a complaint. The board would never have involved itself in a PPDA process because it is barred by law. But the only entry point we had was that a complaint was raised to the chairman of the board. And I remember I was one of those people who said, if the issue has been raised to you, let's refer it to a competent authority to investigate it, and that was PPDA. PPDA investigated it, issued a report, and it had some substantive recommendations they were making. Now, when they made those recommendations, there was a bit of some discussion, and I think that letter you are reading was probably given to the chairman to sign by management. Now, when it went to PPDA, PPDA insisted on their recommendations, and we, as a board, prevailed over management to comply with the PPDA guidance, because I know legally it has implications if you don't comply. And indeed, management complied. They put in place a different evaluation committee who carried out the re-evaluation. Before the re-evaluation could be completed, there was another directive to change course and go for a different person, and which process management is still undertaking.
Members, remember you have a stakeholder.
We have not yet answered, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
There is the matter regarding the appointment of acting MD. You were calling him acting MD, but I think he's a caretaker MD, and the two mean different things. So I wasn't in the country, but the acting chair is right here.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. In the absence of the process of concluding the appointment of the substantive MD in line with the board recommendations, the board meeting which sat when we received the letter from the minister recommended that we, for purposes of being accountable officer at the head of the institution, since there is a substantive deputy, we can give him to hold in the interim until the consultation the minister was undertaking would be concluded. So it was just a temporary assignment. As soon as that is done, in order to allow him be able to head the institution and really take responsibility for the accountable functions of the fund. In any case, anyway, the deputy, under normal circumstances, is a de facto person to hold office in the event that the substantive is not available or he has traveled. Is usually the one who holds the portfolio. Just holding the portfolio in order to keep the business of the fund running. Because you can imagine, in the absence of the executive, whose recommendation was still undergoing consultations with the minister, what would happen? What would we be doing with the fund? So our fiduciary responsibility was just to assign. It had no bigger legal implication apart from holding. In any case, anyway, is a co-signatory to the accounts of the fund and also the operation of the fund, even in the presence of the substantive MD. So we thought it better that he is the most senior officer with a substantive appointment at the level of a deputy MD, and we assessed as a board that he would be the best person to hold office until a substantive person is appointed. I am the one signing it in the absence of the chair. I think I used the word acting.
But the chairman is saying, is now educating us that the two words are different.
Chair.
Well, acting, caretaker, holding fort, in the interim. I think I used some words. Okay, Agnes, please, can you?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, the acting chairman, who also at the time said he was holding fort, actually used the word caretaker. And some information for the committee chair. I see that on 12th January 2023, the chairman actually sought the guidance of the Solicitor General on that aspect. And Chair would like that we can share this letter with the committee, where there was a request for legal advice on the appointment of the Deputy Managing Director as a caretaker of the office of the MD. I'll share that later. And Chair, since I have the floor, if you'll indulge me, I also want to have the record of the statements regarding the Mbale meeting, the issue that discussed the other allocation, just for the record, that in that meeting, I think both Director Hassan and I are correct. Actually, not I think, we are both right. When we shared these minutes, Chair, with the committee, for the record on page 12 of 13 of those minutes, when the issue of the revision of the board remuneration came up, myself and the board administrator were asked to step out of the meeting. So it was an in-camera session. We were not privy to what transpired in there. So I just want that on record. And we've shared these minutes. And when we returned, we were given the resolution of that board meeting, of that session. So what transpired during that session, I was not privy to. For the record, Chair. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So when you were asked to excuse yourself from the meeting for that period, and you are the secretary to the board, so who took the minutes for that period?
Chair, when we returned, we got a brief of the resolution which had been made, which is what is in the minute. Like I said earlier, for me, I go with the official record, which is the minute. So there's a resolution there which required a benchmarking exercise on board retainer fees with international companies with the same risk profile as the fund to guide the board in making recommendations to the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development to revise the board remuneration accordingly. The benchmarking was to be concluded within 2 weeks of the meeting. Chair, we've already shared with the committee a report of the firm that was engaged, Japheth Kato Consulting, which is what led to the proposals that were made following a proper benchmarking.
How much did you spend? So you hired a consultant to benchmark on how you can increase your benefits. Couldn't this have been done by... No. She was still making it. She's your lawyer.
Chair, benchmarking, it's not an unusual engagement. Like we shared yesterday, the head of HR, if you recall, talked about the survey that is done in which the fund participates. It's not unusual. So yes, it could be done in-house. The challenge usually comes with the ease with which you can access information from comparators. And this was to involve international companies, etc.
So how much did you pay this company to benchmark on how to increase the allowances?
Chair, I think it's not how to increase per se, but a comparison to determine whether a review was justifiable. Chair, we shared the detailed report. The amount, Chair, I don't know offhand. If you allowed me, I would avail the particulars after this session. Thank you.
Proceed. If she doesn't know the amount, are you going to force it?
I actually don't know, because it was the board just gave this assignment to management that do what is normally done in every organization. When you are going to take a decision of that type, you better look at what others are doing. And by the way, it's not only just saying the figure is so much and so much.
Okay.
There are lessons also for us.
Okay, Chairman.
Yes.
Where did you get the money to do this benchmark? Who approved this money?
This is in the management, I think.
But does management have the authority to make a budget?
The management doesn't, but this is part of their operational budget. When they do these surveys in HR, they do a number of other studies in terms of operation.
Shouldn't it have been budgeted for? Because in NSSF, you can't have money lying there.
No, it must have been somewhere in their budget, block figure in the budget, which we approved a long time ago. So when an assignment like this comes in, it's an operational issue. The board doesn't come in to check how did you select the consultant and so on. No, we just get a report from management.
What was the name of the consultant again?
The name of the consultant, I think it was the Japheth Kato Consulting, if I recall, because I think he's Japheth Kato.
Japheth Kato Consulting, JKC Consults.
Yeah.
Okay, kindly respond to the questions the honourable member has asked.
I think there were questions that now we are working on going down. The next question is from Honorable Kakembo regarding Metu and Tondeka. I just want to make this brief. I was the founding chairman of Tondeka. Now, Tondeka's job is very different from Metu. Metu is a manufacturer. Tondeka is an operator. And the two don't connect because Tondeka's products come from Kira Motors. Now, what I know is from the record of management, Metu put a proposal to the management of the NSSF. And as usual, the investment committee went through the process analyzing whether this is technically feasible, financially viable for the fund, and they brought a report to the board that it wasn't. Now, in the case of Tondeka, they have never even made a phone call, from what I have understood. They have never made a phone call to NSSF. There is absolutely no link at all between Tondeka and NSSF. The relationship is between Metu and NSSF. Yes. Now, the next point is about Kapeka. For as far as we are concerned in the board, Kapeka is a brain trust, is a platform for debate and discussion on alternative options to grow this economy. And the meetings that have been in Kapeka, or the particular one on 6th December, was about capital and labor. How does the fund help this country to rethink and reset the priorities around social and economic recovery of this country? So Kapeka is not political, the way many people are making it. For us in the fund, open-minded as we are and curious on options, Kapeka is a think tank, is a brain trust. The other question is about the budget. The budget is, I'm going to ask my colleague on finance to talk about do board members lobby budget items, do board members influence some of the aspects of the budget. My colleague will answer, but what I know is what we put in the budget does not automatically mean that you are authorized to spend it. Oh, yeah. When you put a provision in the budget, which we may approve, it does not necessarily mean that you are really going ahead to spend the money that is in there. So over to you, Finance.
I think just maybe to start from the point the chairman has made. When you are not to spend, when it is provisioned but you are not to spend, we put a rider. And the rider is very clear. Maybe we say you can only spend this after developing spending guidelines or the work plan. Otherwise, the rest of the other things can easily be spent in accordance with the bylaws in the institution. Now, how do we budget? The way we budget, you first look at the funding strategy. What is the strategy for the fund? Now, for this case, we have to look at the funding strategy for 2022-2023. Because when we came as a board, we found a 5-year strategy, and every year the board first approves a funding strategy. This strategy is based on the balanced scorecard. We look at the people perspective, people and systems perspective. We look at the financial perspective. We look at the customer perspective and internal processes. And on each of those, management outlines the items there and also give us the lump sum of what each cluster of items is going to cost. We have a very detailed discussion of that.